I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom for quite some time now.
Don't worry, I still love you.
And through the experience, I've come to miss certain things from Breath of the Wild that just didn't make it into the next installment. Some things might have been removed due to gameplay changes, which makes sense, and others were removed because someone at Nintendo is a dick for some reason and wanted me to make this video. So without any further ado, here are the 10 things from Breath of the Wild that I missed in Tears of the Kingdom. Remote bombs were a Sheikah Slate ability that allowed you to produce round or square bombs that could be detonated remotely. You could only produce one of each type of bomb at a time, but they can be generated again a few seconds after detonating it. In Tears of the Kingdom, they gave us other types of items to use as bombs, but these things are just not the same. Remote bombs basically gave you an infinite weapon that you could use over and over to take down enemies. This allowed you to get out of sticky situations where you might have run out of weapons, or even during moments like the trial of the Master Sword, where using them could be your best option to survive. They were also fun for messing with enemies.
What's more fun than blowing shit up? Except for listening to your wife talk about her feelings, that is the most fun activity.
Throwing a bomb at enemies will usually result in them running away from it or trying to get it away from them, which allows for some strategic moments where you could blow up an enemy trying to kick it. It was one of the most useful and fun abilities when it came to combat. Besides for the normal ways of using bombs, people learned how to manipulate them to do some sick maneuvers such as blowing themselves across the map. It had a few other practicalities as well, such as in the next subject on the list. This next feature is quite a tricky one to pull off, but in Breath of the Wild, you can fly. All you need is a bow, some good timing and an object that you can hold. The remote bombs are a favorite for this action, but the feature can also be accomplished using other stuff, like a rock.
Make me fly, damn it!
Tears of the Kingdom gave us a plethora of ways to traverse the world using many different vehicles, but none of them are as fun as holding onto a bomb and flying across the sky, and then running out of speed and then you need to wiggle yourself to pick up momentum again. My point is that I was quite disappointed when I finally found a bow and a suitable rock in Tears of the Kingdom, only to find out that they fixed this feature. But the disappointment I felt was nothing compared to the disappointment I felt when I realized that the next thing on the list was missing from Tears of the Kingdom. While Lionel Richie might be the most fearsome opponent in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, one opponent that felt more dangerous was the Guardians with their freaking laser beams. They came in different shapes and sizes, but one thing was certain. When you started hearing the Guardians' music accompanied by the sounds of their lasers trying to lock onto you, shit was about to get real. You either had to be ready to fight, or hope that you were fast enough to run. It really created tense moments where you had to think on your feet. Tears of the Kingdom added many new tough enemies and challenges, but I can't help but miss the intense moments the Guardians offered. They were always ready to mess your day up when you least expected it and instilled fear in my heart. I know lore-wise it made sense to remove them, but they were missed. My whole time playing, I hoped that there would be some place that might be untouched and still had some Guardians to face. But I was disappointed. And for now, I just have to deal with those moments being missing. Just like I need to deal with the next missing thing on the list. I know what you want to say. Joe, we have freaking islands floating in the sky instead. I know, I saw them in the trailer. But I kind of miss the floating platforms from Breath of the Wild Master Mode DLC. Floating platforms float a bit above the ground and sometimes have some irritating enemies that snipe you from just out of your reach. Sometimes when you're lucky, there's even some treasure on the floating platforms. It was a great addition to Breath of the Wild, spicing up the difficulty a bit by adding an extra layer of challenge and sometimes even placing enemies in unexpected locations. I would have loved to see the floating platforms make a return in some places on the map in Tears of the Kingdom. Not as many as in Breath of the Wild, but some places would have been nice. Just as nice as it would have been if they kept the next item on the list.
Wait, I know.
The red Nintendo Switch t-shirt was a really cool looking piece of armor that could be randomly found in Breath of the Wild. It is a red t-shirt with a Nintendo Switch logo on it, as the description describes it. The shirt only offers one defense and can't be upgraded. It also has no added ability or power up. At first glance, you might think that the shirt is useless. The old man helped to guide a lot of players at the start of their journey in Breath of the Wild. He was the one who told us where to go to progress and even gave us a cool piece of cloth on some sticks. He leaves us to go on our journey fairly early in the game, but not before he reveals his true identity: Santa Claus. In Tears of the Kingdom, Santa is nowhere to be found.
Ha! Christmas is over!
Making us realize that kids all over Hyrule will never know the joy of Christmas and what it is really about. Just like people who never played Breath of the Wild will never know the joys that the next thing on the list brings to many.
Yeah, I can't really think of much else now. Maybe more hearty items? I don't know. I guess in retrospect, the title of this video was a bit too ambitious.